Welcome back to the All Scale Slot Car Den. I'm Dennis, and I just found something in a drawer as I was cleaning out, and I want to share it with you. And today's video is going to be all about Mets tickets, but really about slot cars. I found these old Mets tickets that brought back just awesome memories of my childhood, and we would go to Mets games all the time and have a great time, and then we'd come home and race slot cars. Yes, it was I had the most perfect childhood. I loved it. I had a great time. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. The New York Mets with their Mets tickets here and slot cars were the best times of my life, and I will always cherish this. And I just wanted to show you some of the little mementos I have. We have some of these Mets tickets, and they were awesome little stubs that you can save, and you turn in, part of it, and you get to save that. Nowadays, everything's digital to where you don't really have that physical ticket to hold on to carry home, to cherish. Look at this from 73, 74, 75 era. Go to a ton of games, and then we'd come home and race slot cars. And yes, and oh my goodness, and you see Mr. Met on the front here with this little rain check notification. I never experienced a rain delay, maybe a rain delay, but never a rain cancellation on the games, that they'd have to do a makeup game later on. So this is what the rain check explains over here, the terms and conditions, which at one point I used to be able to read that. I can no longer read that. So we'll put it over there, and you can maybe pause and see if it's anything you want to read. But this was a fantastic experience, almost as great as slot cars. And I would not trade this for anything in the world. My friends and I would get together, and their parents or my parents would take us all to games, and we'd all root for our favorite players as they come up to bat or make a great play or a home run, and just really love every moment of it. And it was great going through some of these mementos. Slot cars are great. And I got this bumper sticker. They would give away some great things at the ballpark when you come in. If you were, one of the first 15,000 fans or so, they would give you, I have so much. This is just the tip of the iceberg of things. There's yearbooks and things. I got this pencil, just so many different items and artifacts. And just like slot cars, I like to collect them. And yes, what a fantastic experience, just like the sticker says. I always imagined that I would grow up when I was a kid and put that on my car. I grew up in Brooklyn. My dad was a big Dodgers fan, and unfortunately they left the New York area, and he was no way going to be a Yankees fan. And he waited a few years, waited it out, and sure enough, New York came out with another baseball team, the New York Mets, the Metropolitans, and he loved it so much. He would go to the games and watch the games on TV, on radio, and when I came along, he got me heavily involved, and I loved every moment of it as much as slot cars. And boy, we had a great time together, and even my mom also coming to games. We just had a great time. So I would not take that childhood back for anything, and especially where slot cars were in it. And yes, so I stayed a Met fan. My parents moved to Florida in the late 70s, and of course I moved with them. So goodbye Brooklyn and the Mets, but hello Florida. But there was no baseball team in Florida. There were always slot cars, though. I brought them with me. So I had no baseball here. I would watch Met games whenever I could if they made the game of the week, which they were usually pretty awful back then. So there weren't not too many features of Mets games on the TV, but on radio, sometimes I'd be able to listen to them, especially if they were playing the Atlanta Braves. We'd get Braves broadcast on the radio. I mean, we're very far from Atlanta, but there were actually Braves broadcasting on the radio. And then the 10 Turner Network. And then eventually we got cable, and I was able to watch my Met games again and really got back into it. Got my wife involved, and we loved every moment of it. And we also loved slot cars. And back in the '86 season, from '84 to '88, great years for the Mets. We just loved every moment of it. But then a strange occurrence happened. In early 1990, the South Florida was awarded a baseball team, a new baseball expansion team, along with in Colorado, and they were announcing 2 new teams, and we were one of them. We were the finalists. We had a new baseball team coming to South Florida in the area where we lived, and oh my gosh, I was so ecstatic, finally. And my first thought was, I'm going to see the Mets more regularly when they come in to play the local team. But my second thought is, my wife and I are now pregnant with our first and only child. And what are we going to do? We have this child. I want to take him to baseball games like my dad took me, root for the home team. But how can I do that when I'm a Mets fan and we're in a stadium for the local team? How are we going to do that? So I made the decision, and it's a decision that the 10-year-old me would probably kill me for doing. But I decided to wipe out all the Mets memories and became a fan of the Florida Marlins. And that was the new baseball team, the local team. And this is a decision that, like I said, 10-year-old me would hang me for. He would not approve of this. He would say, "What did you do?" I was the biggest fan of the New York Mets and slot cars. And what did I do? And slot cars are cool. And wow, what did I do? Now I'm a Florida Marlins fan, but so many memories now with the Florida Marlins, bringing our son to games, bringing baseball mitts to try to catch those foul balls, and cheering on the home runs and the wins for the home team. And they pretty quickly caught on and developed a World Series championship team. In just 3 or 4 years, they won the World Series, and then a few years later, they won it again. Fantastic. There's been a lot of downside since then, and since then, they've moved from the stadium that they started in to their own ballpark, but it's great now. They changed their name to the Miami Marlins. I'm still a huge fan. I still have that in the back of my mind with the Mets. They're always going to be that childhood team of mine. So there's that, an interesting thing that when I think back to my childhood, it's all Mets. When I think to my adulthood now and memories with my son, it's all Marlins. So I figure I can have that. It's me, just like with slot cars, like Todd from Toju Racing always says, there's no wrong way to slot car. Well, there's no wrong way to love baseball and slot cars. And do what you do, enjoy what you like, no matter what scale you like. Just have fun doing it. Don't look back. Just go forward and enjoy it, and make the best you can, because slot cars are great, and baseball and apple pie and Chevrolet and hot dogs and slot cars are fantastic, and you enjoy them, and you go out and have yourself a ball when you watch your baseball games and race your slot cars. What was that?